Some wars are shaped by explosions. Others are reshaped by paper. By words written quietly and carried by hand. By instructions never meant to be seen by the public. This is the story of orders that altered the war without a single announcement. France in 1942 existed in a condition that was neither fully at war nor at peace. German occupation forces controlled cities, transportation, and administration, but the surface order concealed deep uncertainty. Daily life continued. Shops opened. Trains ran. Yet every routine action passed through layers of supervision and restraint. The German command structure in occupied France faced a dilemma. Open force had limits. Large operations attracted attention. Public reprisals generated resistance rather than obedience. Intelligence reports warned that visible pressure was producing invisible opposition. Networks were forming quietly. Not armies. Systems. In response, the tone of command shifted. Orders issued during this period became shorter and less explicit. They avoided strong language. They emphasized procedure. Officers were instructed to maintain calm sectors rather than suppress threats. Stability replaced domination as the primary objective. These instructions did not arrive as a single directive. They appeared gradually. Adjustments to patrol schedules. Minor changes in rail access permissions. Administrative reviews of local authority roles. On paper, each change seemed insignificant. Together, they altered how control functioned. Local German officers noticed the lack of explanation. Clarification was rarely provided. Questions were discouraged. Compliance mattered more than understanding. Orders were to be executed quietly and reported minimally. Written records were reduced. Verbal confirmation became common. At the same time, the civilian population sensed a shift without being able to define it. There were fewer public arrests. Fewer visible crackdowns. But also fewer warnings. People disappeared without announcement. Detentions occurred without witnesses. The absence of information created its own pressure. French resistance groups observed the same pattern. Contact routes failed unpredictably. Safe locations were compromised without obvious cause. Communication broke down not through interception, but through silence. Messages went unanswered. Couriers did not return. The beginning of this story is not marked by a single decision or meeting. It emerged through accumulation. Through routines altered quietly. Through paperwork designed to leave no trace. In offices across occupied France, clerks typed orders that described nothing unusual. Yet those pages reshaped the environment in which the war was being fought. Nothing dramatic occurred. No alarms were raised. That was the intention. The war was being adjusted, not announced. By mid-1942, the cumulative effect of the quiet orders began to surface. Not through events, but through patterns. Movement became less predictable. Access was granted and withdrawn without clear rationale. What had once followed routine now depended on invisible approval. German administrative control expanded in form while narrowing in visibility. Authority shifted from uniformed presence to procedural dominance. Permissions replaced patrols. Documents replaced force. Decisions were made behind desks rather than at checkpoints. Railway coordination illustrated this shift clearly. Schedules remained intact on paper, yet delays appeared without explanation. Certain routes became unreliable at specific hours. Maintenance crews were reassigned repeatedly. No single disruption was significant. Together, they slowed communication, transport, and trust. Security directives followed the same logic. Local units were instructed to avoid large-scale actions. Arrests were to be selective, conducted quietly, without witnesses. Reports were to emphasize order, not activity. Absence of incidents became the preferred outcome. This approach complicated intelligence work on all sides. Allied observers noted declining visibility of occupation measures. Resistance leaders struggled to interpret the environment. Traditional indicators of repression were missing. Yet losses continued. People vanished from networks without warning. Cells became isolated. Within the German command, the lack of transparency was intentional. Compartmentalization reduced risk. Officers knew only their immediate tasks. Few understood the broader design. This limited leaks. It also limited accountability. Civilian life reflected the same distortion. Streets appeared calm. Curfews adjusted subtly. Notices disappeared from walls. The occupation seemed to recede, even as its reach extended deeper into administration. Control was no longer allowed. It was constant. Records from this period became increasingly incomplete. Arrest logs were fragmented. Transfers went unregistered. Communications were delivered verbally, then forgotten. What could not be documented could not be traced. By the end of the summer, the system was self-sustaining. Orders generated compliance without explanation. Silence reinforced itself. The war within occupied France was no longer shaped by confrontation, but by managed absence. Nothing in these months suggested a climax. That, too, was deliberate. The changes were meant to blend into normality, to pass unnoticed, to be forgotten even as they worked. In late 1942, the system reached a point of convergence. Separate instructions, issued months apart, began to operate simultaneously. Not as an operation, but as alignment. Administrative timing replaced battlefield coordination. Across several regions of occupied France, access restrictions appeared at once. Rail permissions expired without renewal. Checkpoints changed authority overnight. Communication channels failed in parallel. No announcement explained the shift. There was no single order to identify. Resistance networks felt the impact immediately. Routes that had functioned for months became unusable within days. Couriers moved into empty streets and did not return. Messages were sent repeatedly and never acknowledged. The loss was not violent. It was complete. German field officers followed procedures without visibility of outcome. Arrests occurred individually. Transfers were processed without names. Interrogations left no formal trace. Reports described calm districts and declining incidents. The absence of conflict was recorded as success. For civilians, the effect was disorientation. Familiar routines dissolved quietly. Certain shops closed without reason. Known faces were missing. Questions went unanswered. There were no posters. No warnings. Silence replaced fear. Allied intelligence struggled to interpret the moment. There was no dramatic crackdown to report. No spike in executions. No mass reprisals. Yet communication from multiple regions declined at once. The pattern was visible only in aggregate. Losses during this phase were measured without numbers. Entire cells ceased to exist as functional units. Not destroyed. Rendered inactive. Leadership structures collapsed without confrontation. Memory fragmented. The climax of this story occurred without a sound. It left no images suitable for history. No ruins. No testimony written at the time. The war inside France shifted course through coordination that appeared administrative, not strategic. When the system stabilized again, it did so in silence. The damage had already been absorbed. The record showed order. The reality showed absence. The orders were never intended to be heard beyond the rooms in which they were issued. They moved quietly, passed from hand to hand, sometimes memorized, sometimes reduced to fragments that were destroyed once their purpose was fulfilled. Their authority did not rely on visibility, only on compliance. When the war progressed and attention shifted elsewhere, these decisions did not follow the armies forward. They remained behind, embedded in routines and absences rather than monuments or records. No ruins marked their presence. No official summaries explained their effect. What endured instead were inconsistencies. Missing names and registers. Files that ended abruptly. Dates that failed to align with events remembered by those who lived through them. The administrative surface appeared intact, yet the substance beneath it had been quietly removed. Those who had issued or enforced the orders moved on. Some were reassigned to new commands. Others returned home and spoke little about their time in France. Their actions left few traces that could be examined later, and fewer still that demanded explanation. Those who vanished did not disappear together or dramatically. They faded individually, scattered across unconnected documents and incomplete testimonies. Without a single moment of destruction, their absence became difficult to define and easier to overlook. In the years that followed, historians searched for decisive moments. They found battles, negotiations, and turning points recorded in detail. They did not find these orders, because they were never designed to stand out. The war preserved its noise. This chapter remained quiet. In France, in 1942, the course of events shifted without ceremony, leaving behind not evidence, but silence. These stories are rarely told. Subscribe if you want to hear the next one.